That's better. So I just pumped it back up, and it was at 70 pounds, and then it dropped to about 50, and now we're getting close to 40. And I've been looking in here trying to figure out what's leaking. And actually, I think it's this old school pressure sender, because there's not, I mean, it's coming from the top here, and you can see there's fluid there, which is diesel. Because I got these just a little bit tighter, and they don't appear to be leaking anymore. I can't really, there we go. So that's all diesel fuel. So it looks like, yeah, if you look at it, it looks like it's coming from this old pressure sender. The only goal of this, I believe, in the original fuel bowl system that was up here, was this is just some sort of static reading that comes in to the computer. I've seen people not use them and use them for key on power for other things, so I'm not honestly sure what it does, because we used key on, oh, I just saw something leak. Where'd it leak from? Oh, wait a second. We have a leak up here. I just saw a leak. Looks like we got some fuel. So we'll go through and double check everything again, and then we'll just keep cycling the key, and I gotta get back in here, because I need to fit the downpipe through there. And now that I look at it on here, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Because there's like a seam right there that I need to push back. I might need to just smash the downpipe up through here. Yeah, right in there. So, I need to figure that out, because I want to try and fire this thing up today. It's been too many weekends of little things here and there, and it's not running. So, I will watch some other videos and read forums and figure out what people do to get them up here. So, but first, we will figure out these fuel leaks up here. Looks like the AN fittings need to be a little bit tighter. Yeah, it's starting to get pretty moist down here. So, probably do need a new high pressure oil pump. But for now, at stock power levels and stock injectors, that it will be fine. Yep, it just leaked again. Okay, so it's not the O-ring fitting, it's definitely right here. We'll tighten that up. Uh-oh, we have fuel on the bottom. There's fuel down here. Yep. All right, all the AN fittings need to be tightened on the regulator. Okie dokie. So, downside to using aluminum and O-ring boss fittings is once you tighten one AN fitting, or you try to loosen it, just by the way they're designed, this is not a pipe thread on this end, it's a standard thread. So once you try to tighten this side, you loosen this side unless you have 2 wrenches. And I think what had happened was down here with the 6 AN line, which is the return of 3/8, I think at some point I tried loosening this or adjusting it and forgot about it. And I'm pretty sure that's why that one down there was leaking so bad. This one was just a little loose, so tighten it up. If it'll even focus. I don't think it'll focus very well, but whatever. So I'll try to see if I can get a wrench down here on this sensor and tighten it up. But I I don't know. I think I'm gonna work on something else real quick for probably 20 minutes or so and check the pressure, see where it's holding. So I'll come back. If it's draining down, then I still have a leak somewhere, a small one, and I'll clean all this fluid up down here in the valley. So I'll get all this cleaned up. Sorry for the wind. I'll clean all this up, and I'll probably work on that downpipe then. I'll come check this in a little bit. So side project number one, while waiting for the system to drain down. So I have a gooseneck ball built into the bed of my truck. Obviously I got a bunch of crap back here. Dana 44/50 TTB axle tools. Oh look, a vacuum. Whoops. Old harness, inner fender liners, transfer tank. Anyway, LMC truck, LED third brake light. Actually pretty sweet, super bright. Anyway, this is my 7-pin trailer connector. So it is not fitting. It's too long to fit inside there. Now, when I got the truck, it had this, and I got the bed separately from the truck. And this one, oh wait a sec, I just remembered something. I need to double check something else. Anyway, this one is super shallow. And when I went and bought the parts to work on this, I did not pay attention to that. So it's easily about an inch shorter, and everything is pushed over. So this was tight in there. But this is plastic, that's plastic. This truck sits outside all the time. So I found this one on Amazon. And I'm looking at it now, and this is the wrong pin connector from this one. So I don't think it's gonna work to begin with. No, it won't. So, yay. Otherwise, I liked it. It was going to be perfect, more or less, if it sit flush in here, route the wires down, and just seal it up. Okay, well, side project over with. Okay, so I forgot to click play right there. But anyway, so this one, no good. The original one that was just stubbed in there into the bed, and then the wires cut, because this bed was actually off this truck for many years. It had a service box. So I pulled this out. I was like, oh, that's junk. Luckily I saved it. And I ended up cutting the ends off, and I was like, oh, of course it doesn't want to do it. All the wire's still good. So I cut a couple of them back farther than the other ones because they were kind of frayed, and the insulation was cut. These were 2 pigtails that I got at a big box store like Tractor Supply. So this was a pigtail on its own. And this one was a pigtail that goes through and hangs down here. So my whole reasoning for the way I have it this way is I very rarely use a gooseneck, and I didn't really want to have power at all times to the bed, even though that's kind of a ridiculous thought. In reality, I could totally do that and be fine. Maybe later I will. I could just cut this sheath and then wire it in down here. But either way, the goal was that I was going to be just plug it in here, and then it would run up into the bed, and I could tie in there. Now, yeah, that's extra connections, but if I had a tailgate, which right now I don't, I would be able to just run it right there. And either way, technically, a connection here is, in reality, no different than a connection of wire from here to back here. So it's kind of a moot point, I guess, since I'm talking to myself. And 4 people will watch this later, but whatever. I don't use the gooseneck hardly ever anyway. I think I've pulled trailers with goosenecks, I don't know, like 5 or 6 times. It's always bumper pull, even equipment trailers. But I wanted the opportunity to where if I needed to utilize one, that I have the opportunity and ability to utilize one. So that's why I have what I have. I am just gonna go ahead and cut this, and I'm gonna splice this one back in and then mount it back up. And would you look at that? There's some self-tappers right there. But I was looking at it, this one has a red, the original. This one appears to have a purple, so White is our main ground for everything. Blue is brakes. Green, yellow, and brown have to do with marker lights and turn lights. Black is main 12-volt power. And then I believe red was something also to do with marker lights and turns. I'll have to double check, but either way, as with anything else, wire up what you know, and then whatever's left you can sort out. And with the purple, I'm assuming that'll go to a red. I could be wrong, but I think overall it'll be okay. Well, it's a good thing that I am pulling these apart and checking them, because power wire, apparently the solder in these crimps you can buy didn't do anything, so it just launched it off when I cut it. And I think that's the ground wire didn't do anything either, so I don't think trailer lights would have worked anyway utilizing this. It just popped right off. I literally just pulled it right off. So okie dokie. We'll snip these clean, wire them up, and we'll leave that for, put it back and be done. Dang it. Okay, I figured out what we got going on here. So all these are corroded up in here pretty bad. I could cut all the wires shorter, you know, strip them, put them back in there. But in order to get the correct depth, I started looking at it once I pulled all the tape off. They cut it. They just simply cut it. I thought this was some special piece. No, they just cut it. So now I wonder if this will fit in there. Now I don't want to utilize this right here, but I could, or I could just cut this one down, because it's pretty much identical. You know, different brand, but it's literally the same. If nothing else, I could just cut it down. Yeah. Ay. It's always something, man. Okay, well, I'm just gonna first try and see if it'll even fit in there first. If not, then we'll move on to this one and rewire it backwards. Okay, so I got them out. Those two are identical, so that'll work. I did pull this one out, and the actual opening here is too small. So it is truly for like semi 6-pin style, but this is a 7-pin. So it probably takes an adapter, because there used to be a 6-pin up here. I don't remember what my friend told me they would do with it when they had a 6-pin, but I think they had some trailers that they just wired 6-pin. I think for ease of use or something. But we're gonna swap this new one into this old one, wire it all back together, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the non-chlorinated brake cleaner, I was like trying to clean this thing off, and it's like melting this plastic. This plastic is from the early 2000s, maybe the 90s, because my friend, his family bought this truck at auction, I think in like 2000 or something, at a farm auction. So this may be from the mid to late 90s, maybe early 2000s. But the brake cleaner is literally just like melting it. I was touching it and it's just getting on my fingers. It's fine now that it's like aired off, but okay, we're gonna just cut up the new one and make that one work. Yeah, we're not gonna deal with an old one. Okay, so let me see if I can get you guys up in here. Okay, so the seam we need to cut is right here in front of us. And I need that to go flat, kind of up towards back in there. See, I've cut this previously. This is just a heat shield that protects the underside of the cab. And there's a heat shield up here. You can see that kind of perforated. right here, we need to snip that and get it to lay flat so that way we can get our downpipe up in there. And this is not the Cobra head one anymore. So I've seen videos where just doing this, you get exceptional throttle response just because it's a lot less back pressure on the turbo. So you get an even better throttle response based on the turbo itself. Maybe a little less lag, but that's neither here nor there. You can see the riff-raff up pipes right there to the exhaust back pressure valve, deleted turbo pedestal. When you do injectors in the O-rings, you're gonna get a bunch of coolant and oil down into your exhaust manifolds. You need to turn the motor over by hand while you have everything open and all the coolant and oil drained. And in doing so, with the injectors and the glow plugs out, yeah, you'll squirt some stuff out, which is the goal, but what you're really gonna do is you're gonna throw it up into the exhaust valves and then down into the exhaust manifold. And there it'll blow up through the turbo and out the exhaust. And that's why when people that have done this before will tell you that you're gonna have white exhaust for like an hour as you're burning all the oil out of it. So you gotta get the truck not just to idling temperature, but you gotta get it hot, because it's gonna go up in here, and that's just old carbon up in there, up in that one, up in the pipe. But yeah, that'll go down through the exhaust all the way out. And there's our beautiful fuel system over there that I just noticed. I think there's another leak on it somewhere. Yeah. So in previous videos, it's kind of hard to see, but dang, those really do drop low. I need to get those up somehow. We'll get to that. But yeah, I skipped over doing the 7-pin connector for the bed. It was just becoming such a hassle that it's not something I need to immediately worry about, so I just pulled all of it out and I just put the tools away for now, because I need to move on and get the truck actually running. I don't need to worry about a hypothetical. Okay, so I have a part of, zoom out, I'm trying to see it. So I have a piece of the downpipe up in there, the elbow that goes up to the outlet of the turbo. But you can see that I've been notching it a little bit, that seam, because I don't want to cut in and eventually rust out the whole cab just from, you know, trying to get a downpipe on. I do eventually need to rebuild the transmission, and that would be a better time to do all this work. But I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pull the transmission just to do one pipe. It's easier to just notch this stuff and make it work. I'm trying to keep all of this insulation that I can and this heat shield. I need to remove these pieces right here because that will cut me eventually. I'm wearing some gloves, but anyway, I want to keep all that heat shield up there to try and keep the cab at a reasonable temperature. I mean, this is going to flow more exhaust and it will, in theory, keep the EGTs a little bit lower, but I mean, it might just keep it 50 to 100 degrees lower. That's not going to be, when you have 900 degrees to 1,000 towing a trailer up a grade coming out of this pipe, I mean, right next to the cab where your feet are, it's 100 degrees. I can't imagine 100 degrees is going to be something major, but in the grand scheme of things, whatever. Oh man, there's crap everywhere. But you can see the dust of metal everywhere that I got up here. Trying to finagle it in there, but I'm hitting the up pipe against the down pipe here and against the cab, and I'm gonna have to pull up some YouTube videos and see maybe the forums and just see how I get this MBRP 2-piece up in there. I know they're all relatively the same, but some of these bends might be different, so this is not fun. I've been fighting with this not just today, but for several weeks overall, over the course of like several weekends. So it's been theoretically a couple months. And then transmission, I've got ATF on some of these bolt heads and coming out onto the pan. Overall it's dry, but got that. And then this oil right here that you see, I wiped my finger because it came from the plug. I'm sorry, the drain plug on the oil pan, and it's got some milky frothy fluid in it, so that's got me wondering if I need to drain that out and see if there's any fluid that got below the oil, or if there was still coolant in there, because I've drained it a couple times. But so there's multiple issues. I'm hoping it's just condensation, because that does happen, and I can burn it off once I get the engine hot enough. So I got a lot going on under here. I need to get back to figuring this out. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, that took way longer than anticipated. As you can see, broke the trans dipstick, but we have it up here. We have the V-band clamp in place. I need to look through and see what I have, because it almost looks like it doesn't fit, but I need to double check first before I do anything. And then I need to dry fit the bottom side, and then we can get after it and try and start it up. So let's see what we can do under here. All right, let's see what we got here. So I need to check the oil, make sure that we got plenty in there. You saw it took quite a bit. I've already fired it up once just to make sure. So it runs on idle's good, no leaks so far. We still do have that fuel seepage somewhere, so I gotta figure that out. But new thermostat is working, it's already climbing. Sitting at about 700, 750 RPM for idle. It still has kind of a funky idle. I think I need to work it out, and I'm pretty sure the RPR or the ICP are both bad because they're original, so 300,000 miles on them. And I'm not even certain if this has rolled over once, so it might be 407,000 because these old OBS Fords. But lights work. See if we can hear the turbo. A little smoky, but I still need to finish hooking up the rest of the exhaust into there. So, we got something. Something's leaking. Uh-oh. Oh, that's automatic transmission fluid. Oh no, that's not good. What broke? Okay. Well, now we have another issue to figure out. Maybe I am gonna just ZF5 swap this. Well, okie dokie. On to the next adventure. Bye-bye.